Hi friends, this is Joe. This is episode number 172, although I still haven't put out number 170 yet, of the Decahedron RPG podcast. Setting's a bit different today. I had an electrical problem at home, so I need to charge up my car, so just give me a second. All right, there we go. We're charging now. So this is a follow-up to my last episode, which was about, does the locked door ruin an adventure? And I proposed that it did not. And after I recorded it and everything, I was like, oh, I should have said something. And as fate would have it, Riley called in and he talked kind of about that. So I also got a call from Jason, and I was promised a call from James, but he didn't do it. So this is what I want to talk about. So I said that a locked door does not ruin an adventure. But as Riley points out in a minute, and he doesn't word it quite like this, but it can ruin an adventure if you as a GM are so inflexible that you make that a stopping point of the adventure, then you don't let the players do anything else, and you don't let them proceed with any other plan until they get through that door. Moderation in all things, right? It's like traps. I know a lot of people are very anti-trap, and I think maybe that's because they've had traps used on them poorly before. No, I'm a fan of traps. I've talked about that before. I think they can be used properly. And I think they can be used appropriately. And just like the locked door, it can be used appropriately, and more importantly, it can be used inappropriately. And that's that situation I was just talking about, right? You don't let your players proceed. Your players can't even say, okay, I'm not going to worry about this locked door for a while. Let's go do something else. But that's the way I do it, right? I talked before, I love sandboxes, right? I have a big open world. If you get stuck here, just go somewhere else, come back later. And like I said, all those options I listed, most of those involved leaving the dungeon and coming back at some other time. And definitely, you could set up a dungeon entirely the wrong way around. Another thing that Riley hints at, but he doesn't quite say, well, he does. He brings up the 5-room dungeon. And that is another topic for another day. It's on my list of things I want to talk about, is the 5-room dungeon. You know, everybody talks about how great the 5-room dungeon is. I'm going to propose a different side of that coin, where I'm going to say, oh, it's not that great. Yeah, so that's really the only thing I had. I mean, I had some other ways you could get around the door and stuff, but it's not important. If you remember, a long time ago, I did an episode on a book, an old book that was called Through Dungeons Deep, and it was a 1980s book about, you know, how to dungeon delve. And the way they handle a door, a locked door wouldn't stop them, because they bring equipment to bring down that door anyway. So there's that. Anyway, I was thinking someday about doing an off-topic show about EV ownership. I know I'm still in the minority. I think some people are interested in it. What do you know? What do you think? Would you be interested in, you know, an off-topic show about EV ownership and charging and stuff like that? It would just be a one-time thing. If so, let me know. Better yet, let me know what you'd like to know. Like if you have any questions about it. I've had this for about 3 years now. In fact, my lease is just about up. I'm thinking about swapping over to something else. Still an EV though. I've really enjoyed my EV ownership, with the exception of road tripping, when you have to do stuff like this, right? Because when you're in a car, you can stop for gas and be back on the road in like 5 minutes. And I can tell you, I've been charging here for 6 minutes now, and I'm not anywhere near done. Although I'm higher up on the battery pack. I usually charge at home. Like I said, I'm having an electrical issue, so this is an unusual charging circumstance. Hi friends, you thought I left, didn't I? Didn't you? It suddenly occurred to me something I wanted to talk about related to all this, stuff about adventure design and should the locked door make you fail. I talk about that rigid GM, the one that has that rigid storyline, and I just want to make clear that while that is not my style of play, it is a perfectly valid style of play. I don't enjoy games like that. I don't like running games like that. I don't like being a player in games like that. But there are plenty of people do. Plenty of smart people. It's not like just those people. But there's nothing wrong with it. And if that's your style of play, if that's who you are, I still have all the respect for you. I probably won't play in your game, but I have tons of respect for you. So really, that's it. That's all I have to say. Short episode. I'm going to play the calls from Jason and Riley now. Jason is Jason of the Nerds RPG Variety Cast. It's primarily, I would say these days, a podcast about media that sometimes does role-playing games, but it's still a great podcast. Give it a listen. And the other Riley is the host of the Diegetic Advancement podcast. It's a little spotty in release right now because, well, that's up for Riley to say on his podcast. But also, it's a very cute call from Riley. You can hear his baby in the background, so adorable, and you can hear his GPS, which is cute. So. Jason, Riley, thank you both for calling me. I'm going to log off now. Like I said, play those.
Hey, Joe, this is Jason. Just listened to your latest podcast, and yeah, I agree with you. Just about all. Well, actually, I watched your YouTube video. You riding your bike. I guess the podcast would be the same thing, but yeah, that locked door is not the end of adventure. It's just it just leads you on to the next part of the adventure. So, yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said in the episode. So, feel validated because you're right. Okay, talk to you soon.
Hey, Joe Riley here. I just listened to your episode on locked doors. I mostly agree. You asked the question, does a locked door ruin your adventure? Now, the answer to that's a little bit complicated, right? If you phrase it, I think you should phrase the question like this. Should a locked door ruin your adventure, right? Because if you design an adventure that has a certain number of rooms that's based on a storytelling structure, like a certain person that you skirt around saying their name in your episode, then yes, a locked door can ruin your adventure. If you can't open it, then it's doomed. But in my opinion, for the D&D that I like to play, very similar to you, I think you should build adventures where a locked door doesn't. And I think you could still have a 5-room linear dungeon where there is a locked door that doesn't ruin the adventure, because you go and do something else, right? And come back when you can unlock it. So that's my thoughts. Keep up the good work. Talk to you later. Bye.